Hey guys, welcome to another week of The Script is Better with Rebecca and
John.
hello. This week we are doing Sofia Coppola's The Beguiled. Just initial thoughts after the script. Was it an easy read for you? How did you feel about it? What's up?
I did feel that was an easy read. I have only positive things to say, but I also felt in general that it was anticlimactic towards the end.
Okay.
But in general, I liked it. The script was good. I have a feeling, just by instinct, that a lot of what the script does needs to be seen.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's just the way that the relationships play. You need to see like body language to actually get these clues of what people are doing and what people are feeling. You just can't write that down without more description than you're going to have in a script.
Oh,
Okay.
I fully agree. I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, I wrote down, I was like, this script is good, but the movie is just going to be better because of the performances. I fully believe that it relies on the performances, which, I mean, it's Sofia Coppola, so no doubt they'll be good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it like pacing-wise, it was a really easy read. I blew through it. I was surprised. But I wasn't like necessarily entertained. It was like, for most of it, I was like, oh, I've seen this before in like every Jane Austen movie ever. You know? Like all the women of a house going after the one man that's there.
Right.
But I was pleasantly surprised when the movie did something that I hadn't seen in any of those, because all the other ones seemed to be pretty happy endings. I mean, not necessarily that this isn't a happy ending, but not for everyone.
Well, I mean, I think it's fair to say that no one's exactly ecstatic about the ending.
Right.
Things kind of go back to normal in a way, but people aren't necessarily happy. There's definitely sadness. I think for everyone, no one's happy about what happens.
No, I would agree.
Yeah.
I was just Google searching beguiling. Because I know generally what it means, but I wanted to see the exact definition.
Who in this is the beguiled? And who's doing the beguiling?
I feel as if McBurney is doing the beguiling, and all the women of the house are the beguiled. Do you disagree?
I don't disagree, but I think that's another thing that we're going to have to see in the film that doesn't necessarily come across in the script. There are points and conversations where I'm like, oh, you're definitely manipulating this girl or this woman. But then there are other times where I'm like, oh, I did not see this coming across at all. Like, why is she suddenly getting these ideas?
Right.
But, like the stuff with Alicia. I think she's 12, right?
So Alicia is 17. Jane is 16. Marie is 12.
Okay.
And Marie is the one that doesn't like him from the start, right?
No, Jane's the one that doesn't like him from the start.
Gosh.
Which I'm surprised because she doesn't raise any objections when there's a chance to get rid of him.
Right.
So that was a bit confusing. So maybe she even had ideas.
Like she turned near the end to be beguiled?
Like halfway through even.
Amy is also young.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's 12.
Yeah, and she's very interested in taking care of animals, and you consider that kind of a young trait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would be? Okay.
Well, no, not necessarily.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a great question.
Who was the beguiled?
Yeah.
Yeah, like definitely not McBurney.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that he was beguiled. I did write down at one point, this man seems to be treating this place like a whorehouse. Like, just like, yeah, whatever. Any of them. I'll take any of them. All of them. That's fine.
But he also seemed to have the choice.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I felt like that, yeah. I can still blame him. Because he also has the choice to say no, which is what he probably should have done. Like, is that, okay, so Alicia's 17.
Mm-hmm.
Is 16 the age of consent, or is 18 the age of consent?
I mean, if you're talking about this time, I don't think there is an age of consent.
There must be.
No, I'm pretty sure that it wasn't even a consideration.
That makes a lot of sense. Oh my gosh. This is something I did not know. So the majority of countries in the world, it's only 14.
Okay.
And the lowest in the world is Nigeria at 11.
Oh, wow. Okay. But you can have child brides, right? Is 11 considered the child bride, or is
yeah.
Okay.
It must be.
Okay.
Okay, still, I think 17 is inappropriate. Do we know how old McBurney is?
At most, he'd be in his 30s, I think. But I assume that he was in his 20s. He just came over
Oh,
from Ireland, right?
I was like reading him as 40s. But yeah, you said at most 30s. Okay, interesting. Well, I'm
I
excited to see that. I like wanted to look up the actors so bad, but I was like,
oh,
no, I'm
I
not going
did.
to. Oh, you did?
Yes.
Oh, so that's how you know.
Yeah. I did look up the actors, and I like who they have for the most part. I only remember 3 of them,
Okay.
and I enjoy, at least to an extent, all of those actors.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like in my head there must be a Fanning in there, and I feel like McBurney is Colin Farrell. That's who I picture.
McBurney is Colin Farrell.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, so he's in the 40s. He's in his 40s.
Well,
No?
he's in his 40s, but it doesn't mean he's playing his 40s,
True.
right? But I might be wrong. This is just what I thought.
He would do such a good job at this performance. And
Yeah.
then also, could you blame the girls? Fuck. Why would I say that?
Just look at what Colin Farrell was wearing. Yeah.
Kind of excited to see his leg amputated. That'll be a fun scene.
Hmm.
Do you feel like the script was missing anything?
Maybe, again, it's so hard to tell just based off the script. I think I'll have to see the film and the way it's acted and the way the pacing is set. In the script, there's no action in this story. There's always cannons being fired off in the distance. And then there's a couple events where soldiers come, and it makes everything tense for everyone because McBurney is from the north and he's trapped in the south. And so the southern soldiers would come and then take him away and kill him. So there's tension when they're around, but it's not often. And so a lot of this is going to rest, a lot of the pacing and the tension is going to rest on the playing of their relationships. And I don't know if that's going to set a good pace or not.
Right.
I really feel like the script is an enigma.
I would agree. I mean, we have done quite a few of these, but it's another writer-director, so there's stuff that she didn't need to put in there because she knew that she could get the performances out of the actors.
Okay, yeah.
One thing I thought was interesting about the script was the fade in and fade outs. There were quite a few, and I'm not 100% sure if she did this on purpose, but they seem to always come at like turning points like in the story. I wasn't sure if she was putting these at those places on purpose. Like there was one that seemed to be at the end of Act 1, at the midpoint, at the crisis, and then at the end of Act 2. It was like she was telling you where the turns were in the story, and I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, if that's happened in another movie, I'm sure it has. I just haven't noticed it per se. But when you read it like this, I was like, oh, weird. This is happening at this page count. You can see, and it just happened after this big event. That's cool.
Yeah.
We've already talked about how it's going to translate script to screen. Like, we're pretty confident the translation is going to be better on screen because of the performances. So definitely excited about that. So that aside, is there something you're most looking forward to seeing?
I mean, you said that aside, but I'm really looking forward to how those performances come across because it's like everything is depending on that.
Right.
But I think maybe if not that, then it has to be the big scene in the script would be the amputation scene, right? So I think that would have to be the other thing I'm looking forward to.
Okay. Amazing. I'm excited for the scene after that to watch him freak out about his leg and then turn from being like so happy that he has all this attention from all these women and so like indulging in it to like a baby. He's just like he like throws a tantrum kind of.
I'm gonna push back against you on that one.
I know that he wakes up without part of his leg.
Yeah. Oh my god, baby.
Amputated. No, but he saved his life. It's not like they were doing it maliciously. And his first and only thought throughout the whole time is, you guys did this on purpose.
Like, he literally just got pushed down the stairs by this woman who was mad that he didn't sleep with her. I would be angry too. Especially when I just wake up. There's no way I'd be reasonable about that. You think you'd be like, oh, I guess this all makes sense?
I mean, does she push him?
She pushes him away when he comes to, like, not comfort her, but try to reason with her.
Okay.
Do you want to double check it on the script?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I do. In the script, she backs up towards the stairs. He reaches for her. She pushes him away as she drops the candle and screams. In the darkness, we hear McBurney tumble down the stairs, calling out in agony. I feel that that's not a, I pushed you down the stairs.
Yeah.
Like, that's like,
I mean, when you look back on it.
And I pushed you, like, away, and you fell down the stairs. Not like I pushed you down the stairs.
like, I agree with you in the eyes of the law and in the, oh, I'm looking back on this months later and be like, I understand now that it wasn't all her fault. But in the moment when I just wake up and my leg's amputated, I'm like, this girl pushed me down the stairs and made me lose a leg. That's how I would feel instantly.
Yeah.
And I really don't think that's unreasonable for him.
Just reading it, I was just like laughing the whole time. So maybe it's not unreasonable, but for me, yeah, I just was like, you're just a little shit and you got what was coming to you and it's none of their fault. It's all your own fault. You like begged to stay. Accidents happen. You brought this on yourself.
Okay, I'm gonna let it go, but like I disagree. I heavily disagree.
Okay, well I'm excited to see that then.
Yeah.
To see if it leans either way or if either of our opinions on that is changed upon seeing it.
Even like he begged to say, like, yeah, he's in the middle of a war. He doesn't want to go back to war. I don't think that's unreasonable either.
But he's bringing possible danger on these women. Like, he's being selfish.
I mean, it's his life.
Yeah, but that's not their problem.
That's not their problem. It's true, but like, they're not going to die. They're probably not going to be killed by their own soldiers if he's caught. I mean, there could be consequences for them, but yeah, I think they're taking a very low risk for saving his life.
He's going to tell people about their cow.
Their cow? They have a cow?
Yeah.
And they'll lose the cow because the soldiers will take the cow and eat it?
Yeah. If we let him go, he'll join up with them. He would tell them about our garden and our cow. That's like the fear.
Mm-hmm. Well, like you said, we'll see how it plays out.
Cool.
I'm going to stay on I don't think he got what he deserved necessarily. I don't think he was a good guy and definitely in no way blameless, but I think he had a right to be at least somewhat angry when he woke up without a leg, and at the very least had the right to freak out in the moment and then calm down later.
Yeah, I feel like it can end there. There was like script stuff that I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, there's a line in it that says, McBurney lies on his back, marveling at his fortune to find himself in such a prison.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, we have no idea that he's marveling at the fortune of finding himself in such a prison. And like, when you're like just learning about screenwriting, they're like, only write what you can see on screen. If somebody, you can't glean what's going to be on screen from the things, then don't include it. So that's like an inside thought that she's telling us, but the reader knows this, but the viewer doesn't. And she does that quite a few times.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely noticed that as well.
But it's one of those things, like when you're a master of something, then you can break the rules in the ways that you want, I bet.
Yeah, like there was another one when Nicole Kidman first has to undress Colin Farrell to...
Nicole Kidman?
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Okay. She's Miss Martha?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when she has to undress Colin Farrell to take care of his wounds the first time, it's like, it says, but it's clear she hasn't seen a man's body in a long time. I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, I wonder how she's going to play that.
Yeah. And then there was another one that's like, Edwina imagines herself as a bride. I was like, okay. If she actually like, dun, 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 kind of like walks like that, but if she's just looking at herself in the mirror or like sitting down, I think she's brushing her hair at that point or something. Imagining herself as a bride, yeah.
Maybe it's one of those things we'll see like a ding, and she'll see a picture of it, or we'll see in her mind her as a bride.
That sounded so Saved by the Bell, like when there's like a thought bubble in Saved by the Bell.
Yeah. There was a point of possible foreshadowing. Like I thought there were a couple of things that were pretty obvious. Like they had the gun, so the gun's gonna get used eventually. Yes. It didn't seem to have as much. Like it just seemed it was used a lot, so it was less foreshadowing. It's just like, we have a gun, we're gonna use this all the time now.
Yeah.
So I felt it was less foreshadowing, but more just like, this is a thing.
Okay, but on that, before you move on, I was like, oh, she asks for the bullets so she can use the gunpowder to light it on fire in his wound and fix his leg. I'm a genius. And then that didn't happen, and I was like, you don't know anything.
I mean, if this was another movie.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I don't think that's unreasonable to guess. The poison mushrooms, though, that was obvious foreshadowing. Like, they're going to use these eventually. Yeah.
Okay. I think I missed them the first time, and then I was like, oh, cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
The suggestion of that was great, though. Everyone was on board, and they didn't have to say, like, we're going to poison him.
Yeah, they were all just down with it. And then There was just this other thing that was ended up not being foreshadowing. It was nothing was more frightening than a startled woman with a gun. There was this line. I'm not sure who said it or if it was description, but it made me think, oh, this is foreshadowing. There's going to be somebody. One of the women is going to have the gun. They're going to be startled and they're going to shoot somebody. Didn't happen at all. What actually happened was Colin Farrell got the gun and he took control. Held them hostage for a little bit.
Maybe that's the foreshadowing in the sense that none of them are really afraid of him with the gun.
They weren't, eh? I didn't see, at least, again, that might be something that they act out, that they play out on screen that was never written in the script.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an article up here. I was trying to look up McBurney's age, and one of the first articles, it was from 2017. I'm not sure if IndieWire leans left or right in any way, but they're talking about how the Beguiled castrated its male lead in a way. And so kind of like the leg amputation is probably a symbolization of castration. And so he's just like a useless male at that point. And that's why even with a gun, he's not dangerous to them. Okay. Which is an interesting idea.
That is the kind of articulate insight that I would not have said myself. So thank you, IndieWire.
I didn't have it, so yeah. Go IndieWire. No credit to the author. Yeah. I'll give credit. Judy, it goes to Judy Dry. Good work.
Good work, Judy.
Sweet.
All right, cool. Well, are you ready to watch the movie?
I am ready to watch the movie.
Let's do it. All right, it's question time. John, if there was a movie that you desperately want a sequel to, what would it be?
Can it be a film that already has a sequel and then I want that sequel to disappear and have a different sequel?
Sure. There are no rules here. Sure.
What? There are no rules?
No.
Fantastic. This is a hard question, and it's going to be one of those things where later on I come up with other answers that would be more reasonable. Right. And I'm like, oh, of course I want this. I would have wanted this one, but now it's too late. Damn it, John. But for now, I'm going to say I would actually like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4th movie.
Wow.
Yes, because I liked the first two Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Those are that Spider-Man for me. I think that was the best representation of him. Other people will definitely disagree with me. Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire, best Spider-Man movie ever. Number 3, it went off the rails, but had Sam Raimi had better control of things and production didn't get on his back to bring Venom in, I think it would have gone better. Anyway, I think he could have done. I just like that style. I like that actor. I like Kirsten Dunst. So I want a 4th Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie.
Cool. I would see that for sure. Just because I want the redemption.
Yeah, everyone likes the redemption story. Mm-hmm. Tom Holland's doing great. He's doing his thing. He's got this role wrapped around his finger. I'm sure he's probably got like one more Spider-Man film in his
contract that he'll do. Kind of thing?
Yeah, and then he'll be like, I'm like done with this. But yeah, at the same time, like, he seems to be doing a lot of he seems to be breaking out in a lot of ways. So I think he's probably beyond the Spider-Man at this point.
Totally.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe another Tobey Maguire-esque person will be Spider-Man next, and we'll all move on with our lives. But not me. I'm going to dwell in the past and wish Tobey Maguire was still Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man.
Hey friends, we just finished watching Beguiled, Sofia Coppola's 2017 version, which was a remake of the 1971 version with Clint Eastwood. Very excited to talk about how this film differed from the script. John, what were your initial takeaways, initial thoughts about the movie?
Well, Beck, I enjoyed the movie. I did enjoy it in general, but I felt it was slow the way the script kind of portrayed it. At least it gave me the impression that it would be slow, and I felt that it was slow. Things happened, though, and I was carried along in it. But I think that in the end, it wasn't my favorite movie, but I also didn't feel bad about watching it.
Okay, so very lukewarm feelings about it. Take it or leave it kind of thing.
Take it or leave it, yeah. I think if somebody was like, let's watch this movie, I don't think they would waste their time, but it didn't wow me in any way.
Okay.
What did you feel?
I thought the same thing. It was kind of a bit of a sleeper for me. I think the way that we talked, we had expectations that the adaptation was going to bring a lot more than the script did. And I just feel like it didn't bring a lot more like I wanted it to. So yeah, I just was okay to have never have seen that movie, I feel. And yeah, it was what it was. It was okay, I guess. I also thought aesthetically, oftentimes it was very dark at like pivotal moments. And I had to like rewatch scenes to understand what was going on. And I'm like, why? Like if I had watched this in a theater in one sitting, I feel like I would have missed stuff because of how just lighting wise, how dark she made the film. Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Maybe the lighting was true to the time period. Maybe that's what she was going for. But you're right. It was dark, especially in the house. There weren't a lot of windows at times, and a lot of the scenes happened at night just by candlelight.
Yeah.
So it was definitely harder to see.
Okay, so let's dive into the differences then. Do you feel it adhered to the script pretty close?
I felt in general it adhered to the script, yeah. There were just things in the script that were put in for the benefits of the actors that were impossible to show on screen, like some cues to act a certain way, to portray a certain emotion and whatnot. And you didn't get that necessarily conveyed in the film the way I would have wanted it to be.
Same thoughts, really. There were things that like stood out for me more in the script than they did on screen. I kind of missed them in the script. Like in the script, I knew McBurney's affection for Edwina. I saw it many, many times, but on screen, I didn't see that he was different toward her than he was to any of the other women in the house. I just felt that he kind of like flirted and gave eyes to everyone in equal measure, but in the script I thought it seemed like he was more about this one, and it just so happened that he slept with Alicia instead. I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna go against you on that one. Yeah, I felt that in the film it was more explicit, or at least I think in the film and the script, Edwina's the only one that he actually said like, "I love you, I have feelings for you." The other two, it was just like googly eyes and whatnot. But nothing explicitly said. Edwina, he actually said things too, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, he does.
And so at least in the story, that's the only person that we get any actual verbal cue that he's infatuated with them.
True. I mean, what else? I guess the person who says you're my favorite, don't tell any of the others that's to Amy, and she's too young to capture his affection anyways.
This is true. And I think in the script and the film, I'm sorry, this is kind of like jumping out of what we're talking about, but I actually enjoyed the relationship between McBurney and Amy out of all the relationships. It seemed like the most pure. I think it's because partly he had nothing to gain sexually from her, and so he was just free to have a real relationship with her. And like even to the point where at the end when he tosses her turtle away, he feels like instant remorse because he's hurt the person that he actually cares about.
Absolutely. Cool. Were there any other differences that you thought were between the two? I mean, I personally felt that the movie was less tense than I thought it was going to be. I expected it to be more of a passive-aggressive standoff between all of the women. And it just kind of didn't seem that way at all. Yeah, I thought that they were like going to be quite obviously undercutting each other in tone. The tone of their words, and it was like actually pretty pleasant. Yeah. I expected they're like vying for his attention to be more cutthroat. Yeah,
it's very true, especially with the headmistress, Miss Martha. She seemed to have some affection for McBurney. I mean, at least that's kind of implied in some ways, but whenever she's like noting things about other people, she's not disrespectful in any way. She's just who she is.
Yeah. Just matter of fact about stuff.
Yeah, I agree. The only time maybe I saw it was, I don't remember her name, but it was one of the younger girls who had stolen Edwina's earrings. And she like made a point of noting how Edwina was dressing up as well.
Yeah, that was Emily.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was kind of maybe, would it be passive aggressive? She was kind of like very direct about it.
Yeah, that would be like the most of it, I think I saw as well.
Yeah, I would agree that there wasn't the tension that you would have expected from this film, a tension that you kind of almost expect and need based on how little actual action goes on.
Yeah, yeah. Hence making it kind of a sleeper for both of us.
Yeah, so unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because you could definitely see the potential in the actual script for there to be something there to be more tension. You know what? Maybe it's something, this just came to me, that would do better on stage.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
I didn't think of that before, but that I fully agree with you. That's a brilliant point. I think so. It's lots of conversation and just like talking heads, so for sure better on stage.
And you could like being there. I know whenever I'm in a like a comedy scene, if I'm actually watching a stand up on stage, I feel the jokes more. I get into like that atmosphere more. And I think maybe if you were actually there, you would feel the tension more.
Hmm. Okay, so here's something in the movie that I thought was kind of different from the script, even though really beat by beat it follows
Mm.
what happened in the script. Just when I saw it, it played differently for me. I really didn't think that Edwina pushed McBurney down the stairs. Like, for sure she did not. He was on her, and she pushes him off of herself and into a wall. And he bounces off the wall and like flings himself down the stairs, it seems.
I mean, I'm still on the side that's not
She
okay.
pushed him down the stairs. You're still on that side.
I'm not on the side that she pushed him down the stairs, but I'm on the side that like I can at least empathize with him when he wakes up and his leg is gone and all it seems to him that he did wrong was he slept with somebody
Yeah.
that they didn't like him sleeping with. And so like he goes to comfort her. Yes, I completely agree that it was an accident. I don't think she had any intention of flinging him down the stairs. They kind of like were grappling, not like that's even more an intense word than it could describe it. But they were together. She like maybe pushes him off a little bit. They were just near stairs. He fell down the stairs and he's unconscious, and so he can't fight for that. But when you wake up and you don't have a leg, I just think that would be an extreme thing to have gone through. And so I could understand his reaction at that point.
Right.
Yeah. And you know what I would have actually appreciated in the script and the film? An idea of how much time passes. Because he goes through these moments of intense like anger, anxiety, and grief over this, but you don't know how long that lasts.
Right.
Are they dealing with this house guest who is like yelling and breaking bottles and just causing a lot of tension for them for months on end after that? Or is this like a week and then they murder him? I don't know.
Yeah. Because maybe if it had been going on for a really long time, the suggestion from, I think, the youngest person in the house, Amy, the person who
Mm-hmm.
found McBurney in the first place, of poisoning him via mushrooms, would have been a little more earned. Right now, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, where did this girl come up with this? Like, holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel it comes out of nowhere a little bit. But
Hmm.
it is a little sad because it seems like Edwina and McBurney seem to have a connection at that point finally. But
Hmm.
yeah, who knows how serious that is.
Yeah. I was wondering, I had a question. If is Edwina like a prisoner at the school? Because they mentioned that she came from the city, and I
Mm-hmm.
was wondering if she wanted to go back, and if she was like being held there. Because really, when McBurney arrives, as soon as they nurse him back to health, couldn't they just leave together? Like even despite the war? I mean, I know that he's technically a Yankee, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
bad thing for this area, but he's also Irish, so he could just dress in like non-Yankee garb and just be like, I have nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
Because nothing about his speech really ties him to New York in any kind of way. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. They could have left at any point. I guess that just goes to show that he wasn't actually interested in Edwina the way he was saying.
Yeah, it really seemed like he did just want to stay there and be in that place, which brings me back to my point where I earlier said that he was kind of treating the place like a whorehouse, like a brothel or
Uh,
something. And then there is a line that stuck out in the script for me that I like didn't even remember in the movie. I didn't even hear it said, but then when I was referring my notes back to the script later, I saw that line again and I was like, oh yeah, this happened. Jane's line, they rape every Southern woman they come across. And I was like, ooh, that's 9 pages into the script, so that's really early on in this movie. And that's like the foreshadowing of this movie that, yeah, I guess I wish stood out more in the movie because I missed it. How do you feel about the scene when he actually goes into Alicia's room? He like sneaks out of his room. It's dark. It's nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
And sneaks into her room. Intentionally sneaks into her room?
But he intentionally went to her for sure.
Yeah? Okay.
I think so.
That was my question, really. I mean, he's only been able to walk for a little bit of time. Maybe he just doesn't know whose room is whose.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Well, again, we don't know how much time has passed. He's been working in the garden for a while, but we don't know how long. Is that just a matter of days, or has this been going on for longer? It probably is just days, but there's no real way, like they don't give any indication. So I think he definitely did decide to go into Alicia's room. And yeah, I think he made his choice.
It was such a strange choice, though, to make. Like, you had, like, Edwina was waiting for him that night. Like, they had plans to be together. Why would you choose that night to sleep with somebody else in the house? Why not sleep with Edwina and then, if you want Alicia as well, sleep with her on a different time? It's just such a strange, like...
boys be crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't understand it either. I don't know if maybe she's trying to make a specific comment, like Sofia Coppola is trying to make a specific comment about this character or this scene. But it seemed like he was just gung-ho for anything. Like, maybe Edwina was his backup. Mm-hmm. And like he had the moment where he was about to make out with Miss Martha, and that would probably led to something else that exact same night, right?
Right.
And then the girls made a sound, and so she had to call up to them, and so that broke the magic of the moment. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, so you didn't get a chance with her, so you moved on to Alicia. So was Alicia your backup, and then Edwina's your second backup?
Yeah, like Edwina's the sensible choice, but he just wants danger.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you like Alicia?
I don't know. I felt like she was only one thing. Her only role there was to just be Lolita.
Oh, sure.
Just always making eyes at McBurney and not being interested in doing anything else but that. Like, she was bored in class. She didn't want to do her chores, like whatever, all of that stuff. All she wanted was to be with him, it seemed.
The reason I brought it up was because just like thinking about his choices and maybe his character, I think that he would have gone for Alicia in the end. Having just talked about how he decided to go with Miss Martha right away or originally, I feel like Alicia seems to fit who he wants the most because she's so blasé about everything. Like she's bored, she doesn't care about anything, and it seems like she had like the least strings attached. Yeah. Kind of thing. And so it would be exactly what he would want.
Yeah. And maybe he wasn't given the opportunity, but I don't think McBurney like showed any intellectual like prowess or whatever. And Edwina definitely demonstrated that multiple times. So there's that possibility as well, especially of the time, like not wanting your lady to be smarter than you. But with Alicia like not paying attention in class and doing that sort of thing seemed like she might be more of a dutiful like wife than somebody who is like learning these different languages and like excited to teach and like a thirst for knowledge and that sort of stuff.
Sure, yeah. And with Miss Martha, it would have been somebody who was used to being in charge, someone who came from high society as well. And I think Edwina does as well. So, but I'm sure Alicia does as well. But she comes across more as a spoiled brat. Mm-hmm. So yeah, McBurney, I mean, that's kind of the only impression that we get of him, how he is in this situation. It's a weird situation to be in. And yeah, I don't think he comes across as the best character, for sure.
I was curious that Edwina even went for him after all that. Like, those girls aren't family. So there's no like betrayal in that sense. But still, like, he slept with Alicia and then pulled a gun on everyone. And he kind of apologized for it. And now you're like so excited to be his wife. I'm like, oh my gosh, why?
Pickings were slim.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell's a handsome man. But yeah, she made some kind of connection with him, I guess.
Yeah.
And the war was killing a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's the best guess I've got.
Do you know anything about the Civil War? Because I definitely don't.
No.
But didn't before this movie and still don't after this movie. It just seems to be like that's when it takes place, and that's kind of like a backdrop, but doesn't really play into the story at all. I just thought there was one line that was interesting that forced me to like start looking some stuff up. It was like near the beginning, and Amy says to McBurney, "The slaves left," and I was like, "What? They just left?"
Mm.
And so I looked it up, and this is set in 1864, and in 1863. Lincoln announced the Emancipation Proclamation, so that's like when a slavery effectively was like outlawed, and so they were able to leave, and then the Civil War kind of happened over that, a little bit before that and extending afterwards. But so with that, I thought it was strange that there was not a one black person in the movie. I know
they all left back.
Yeah, I guess, but it's so important to that time. That to have just a completely white movie set in that time is strange.
I guess so. They're really in that house the entire time. So if the slaves left, then there would be no black people.
But also some of them were fighting in the war too. So even any of the troops that came, like
I mean, we barely saw the troops, but you're right.
Yeah, I feel like the fact that we're making so many assumptions about characters' feelings and like just hypothesizing about the reasons that they did stuff, it shows just that there wasn't enough on film here.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like there was just something missing either in the acting or in the editing just throughout it. And something that was different from the script to the film was this the scene where they actually cut off McBurney's leg. It just jumped. It really felt like there was a moment for tension and emotion there. And it felt like they just really went quickly. Like he fell down. He was on the floor. They didn't show them moving him to the table or anything. I think they might have said, let's move him or help me move him. And then it cut to them actually being in the room, him on the table, and them needing to make this decision. I felt like in the script, there was just so much opportunity there, and it was a lot slower that you could actually feel the weight of this and the way these characters have switched in their viewing of McBurney.
Yeah.
That just wasn't there. Like, just so many missed opportunities.
Agreed. On that scene, I missed this in the script, even though I read it. I don't know how I missed it. Just that Miss Martha says, Edwina, go get the anatomy book. I was like, oh man, you're just getting a book and you're just going to do it. You're just going to do it from an anatomy book. You're just going to chop off this leg. Okay.
Yeah, we never get the history in the film, but in the script they say that she used to work as a nurse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there is some knowledge that she has. That's why she was able to remove the bullet shrapnel from his leg and stuff. But she is definitely a little out of her field there. How did you like the ending?
Again, that brings me back to, is Edwina a prisoner? Like, she was such a like ghost at the end. Miss Martha had to snap her out of her like depression almost, or like sadness like haze, that I was like, if just go. Yeah,
she should definitely just leave. I guess she feels like she's trapped, but I don't think she's actually a prisoner. Maybe she feels that way. But like, they are literally, I didn't realize this in the script, but in the film they're literally sewing up a shroud over McBurney's body.
Yeah. And saying like, keep your stitches straight.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was so morbid. It was crazy. Yeah, I thought they had just gone and worked on stitching afterwards in the script.
Yes.
And then they dumped the body outside the gates after.
Yeah.
Tie the rag. Oh, man.
Tie the rag. To be like, hey, there's somebody here, come get him.
Yeah.
And so I think they mentioned it at the beginning, but I can't remember why those children stayed at the school. I think Amy said why. Wasn't it just that it was like easier or something?
Yeah, I think it was just convenient for all of them.
Yeah, and then in the end, probably traumatizing for their entire lives.
And you just comment on war. It's always going to be traumatizing.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Can't really escape it no matter where you go, even when you think you're safer. Kind of not.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Was there anything else that you wanted to bring up?
Nothing, no. I think I mean, I wish it was different, but oh well.
Yeah. I would say the only other thing that I noticed was that I was like watching Kirsten Dunst, Colin Farrell, and Nicole Kidman and Elle Fanning. I was just fully like watching those people. And
rather than the characters that they portrayed. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I have like so little experience with acting, so I don't know if that's a performance thing or if it's just that they're so big that kind of can't get away from that. But I don't know. Like when I watch Gary Oldman, I see whatever character he's playing and not Gary Oldman. So I know that it's possible to lose yourself in a character. For this one, I just didn't feel like anyone kind of did that. And I thought the best performances were from Jane, Emily, and Amy.
That's fair.
Yeah. Like the mushroom scene, great.
Yeah.
Amy, like bringing up the mushrooms, great. And then the earring scene that you brought up earlier when Emily's wearing Edwina's jewelry. I was like, oh, those two parts, I was like, yeah.
We're not from Kristen Dunst.
No.
Or, oh well.
Yeah.
Okay. They got their money.
Yeah, totally. And like Sofia Coppola works, it seems, with all the same people, so they'll be back. They'll all be back for sure.
Yeah. Is she working on anything right now?
Yes. On the Rocks, which is in post-production. Oh, it actually does not have any of the same people. It has Bill Murray, Jenny Slate, and Rashida Jones.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, at least Bill Murray's been in one of her films before.
Yeah, the Christmas one? Is that? Oh no, and Lost in Translation. Oh my god. I'm like a very Merry Christmas. That's the one you're talking about? No, yeah, Lost in Translation. Right. Yeah. The big one. I never saw her Marie Antoinette. I feel like I should now.
Oh, I didn't realize that was her. Yeah.
Yeah. Another Kristen Dunst one.
Yeah, well, you can see if you see Kristen Dunst or if you see the character then.
Yeah, cool. All right, so let's make our decision. John, how did you feel? Script or movie? Which one was better?
I'm going to stick with the script. I wanted so much more from the movie after reading the script, and like I went into the movie expecting to like the movie better than the script, but the script just gave me more.
Yes, I agree. Fully agree. The script was better for me as well.
Okay, that's too bad.
Well, I mean, it's still Sofia Coppola, you know? She's
totally.
Great script. There you
totally.
go. I kind of want to watch the original too, just to see what how it differed and what Sofia thought she could bring to it that wasn't brought to the original.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting.
Okay, cool. So, what movie are we doing next week?
Beck, we're gonna go with Life is Beautiful.
Amazing. Who wrote this script?
The screenplay is by Vincenzo. I don't know if it was going to be the Charami or Karami.
It's Life is
Roberto
Beautiful.
Benigni. Okay, Roberto Benigni actually had a hand in the screenplay too.
Yes.
I think he's the main actor. Yeah, he is the main character in the film.
Sweet. All right, let's do it.
All right. Thanks, Beck.
See ya.
Later.